Welcome back to another VRA veracity video. Okay, so we did break our support levels yesterday. It was a bit of a shit show. I had to go to sleep. Right, that's the unfortunate thing about living in Australia. You don't get to see half the price action happen, except I did today a little bit, and I explained to you why. So I said if we break this level here, watch out, tight stop, etc. In the last video, I'll link it below, and obviously the other level which we broke. Now, this move, I anticipated it this morning in Australia. I actually took a short trade on this because I started to have my doubts about the pattern after we saw that break, right? Now, it's very easy for me to say that. So I'm just going to post a link to a private chart that I sent one of my members, Matthew, the guy who basically introduced VRA to me in the first place. I did shout out to him on my first couple of ideas on this. So I'll just post that down below there so you can have a look. I did trade this down to the exact target here. Now, why did I do that? How could I have known that that would happen? And so it all comes back down to the new count that I have, which is basically realizing that this is an inverted pattern, which means that this is actually an ongoing corrective wave A, at least a wave A. And I'll explain all that in a second. So I just move these labels out the way for a moment whilst I was zooming in there. So what this is down here is a wave D. Otherwise, it wouldn't have done what it did. So in my chart that I posted down below, uh, the one I shared with Matt was basically ahead of time on this, and I caught it. I was lucky. I recouped any losses that I took on the trade uh, before I went to bed, which you don't want to wake up to that sort of stuff either. It's not nice, right? But it really just made me think 20 times harder about the pattern, which was really starting to make me feel like I don't trust this pattern, right? And it was I hate that feeling because it is such a complex pattern. And it all started back with this big move, right? So this big move now is counted as a complete five-wave move, right? As crazy as that may seem, that's what I'm doing. And that's what led me to take that trade, is because I realized, hang on a minute. And look, I'd tried to play this before, but you see so many other coins that have broken that previous high, after that move happened. And I just thought it's really strange how, if this was going to be like a wave A or the start of a five-wave move down, that the correction would bounce so hard like this. But then I started to realize that any bullish kind of count on this was kind of digging holes, right? I was barking up the wrong tree. So once I sort of did this particular view here, I started to realize that this move here was the beginning of a wave D, and we needed to see wave C, and that's where I got that target. So that target was hit perfectly, and I had my take profit, took it instantly, and it bounced instantly. So the thing that's weird about this count is that this looks like a five-wave move, but it's a zigzag. That's the part that got me initially. The other thing that really kind of got me last night before I went to bed, I was pretty tired, is that on the Bybit chart, this actually made a low below my other support level I had, right? It actually made a low below that, even though this particular chart didn't. And that was stuck in my head. But I didn't, I just thought, oh, in my tired state, I thought, you know what? You can't trust all exchanges on the charts. But then in the morning, it just became obvious that that shit wouldn't happen if it wasn't meant to. And if it happens on the Bybit exchange, well, it kind of means something. And it ended up meaning that this was a wave C. This crazy, stupid move was a wave C. And And it made me realize that yes, 5 wave moves can have this type of stupid wave fall that's basically like, if you've ever heard of alternation, where if wave two's small, wave four will be, a bit drawn out. Well, this is a extreme version of that, right? Like you had a wave one here, tiny wave two, you can't even see it, wave three, and then like wave, like basically wave four was this type of stupidity, right? And then a tiny wave five. That's how kind of this is how ridiculous this pattern was. These things make it really hard for me, right? Using the waves, they do. Even if you pull out your freaking moving average and shit like that, like it just makes it so hard. And then by the time this had happened down here and it was bouncing, I started to realize, well, hang on a minute. If this is ABC, could this be a little DE here? Could this be a one A, B, C, D, E, and this E was doing the same shit this was doing here? Little one, two, three. This bullshit started to happen, four, and then five. I thought, you know what? I'm not falling for this shit twice. I took a short position right as this was topping out, and I got a really decent gain out of that. Like it was a pretty sharp, quick profit to make up for that bullshit last night. And I thought, you know what? Now it's given me clues to the entire bloody pattern, so I'm going to be patient on this one. So what we're expecting here is a wave E bounce, right? So let's just zoom out a little bit so I can explain this to you. So at the moment, I'm thinking we're in wave four, right? And I thought this was an A, B, C scenario, right? And if you don't understand why, well, it's because of the five corrective patterns A, B, C, D, E, 3, 3, 5, 3, 5. Don't use the pin because I'll guess it. That thing, right? So when I took this view that this was a 5 wave move, then that starts to turn around in the opposite direction and it starts to become more of A, B, C. This can't be a D because it's a 5 wave move, so it must be part of a D wave that's still unfolding, and that's how I took that trade. Now this means that this is going to go down and produce another one of these moves, right? Another one of these moves. Yes, that big giant sack of shit that happened, that's going to happen. So, okay, so this is absolutely insane. This means that wave four is going to be fucking huge, right? Is this even possible? Now, there's two scenarios here. Either this is a top and we're going to smack down, or it's the most largest, stupidest wave A I've ever seen in my entire life, right? It's absolutely going to be ridiculously huge. Okay, how are we going to know if that's true? Okay, so if we're in wave four, and this is the wave A, which is completely ridiculous, right? It's stupid. Look at the size of this thing. That basically means that once we get our wave E bounce, okay, let me just move this one. This is critical support up the top here, right? This wave E will not, cannot, I repeat, cannot. It's not an if or maybe, let's see what happens. No, it cannot go above this. This is the pattern defined for you. So when this bounces, you can take another short position, except this time, wherever wave E ends, you can measure down the length and you will take that whole profit. So you know how you might have missed this move when it happened? Well, don't worry because there's another one coming. And you can definitely short the shit out of that one, right? So for me now, I will not go long wave E. There is nothing to put my stop on. It's just plain gambling. But if I wait for the wave E bounce, I have that stop up the top that I can short this on, right? Um, as a starting point, when I see that it looks complete, and then I can move my stop down to the end of it once we break the beginning of it. and then continue lower until they hit the target. How will we know that this is not going to keep going lower? Is because where did this move start from? And that's uh, you know the beginning of wave one zigzag. That would be this level right here. Sorry, this level right here, right there, right? If we break that level, yeah, we can't. Okay, so what is the clue that this is going to actually keep going higher? Well, like I told you and I explained to you in the last video, which I'll link below, is that this is clearly a 1, 2, 3 zigzag. So even it's not breaking any rules by doing all this shit. It's not breaking any rule at all. It's just a really large, ridiculous, confusing, large corrective wave A, and we don't really know how the rest of it's going to go. But it does provide us with an edge. It does. Why? Because wave fours don't usually retrace almost 100% and give you a chance to short it and make profit. So technically, what you could do, wait for the wave E bounce, take the short, take the profit at the right time, which I will, don't worry, I'm going to update you on this one. What you do at that point is you immediately take a long position with a stop down here. So you're not going to be using all your profits on the move down. Use half, whatever, it's up to you. I don't care how you risk management. I'm not coaching you. If I was coaching you, that's a different story, right? If you want to get coaching from me, you're going to have to, go through my website, right? We'll talk there, through email, whatever. But look, that's only for serious people. Serious about the waves takes commitment. Don't think that you're just going to get into learning the waves and quit halfway through. I've set it up so you can't do that. And if you do that, you're stupid, because like, why would you invest in such a thing if you're just going to do that, right? And the reason I'm doing this is because a lot of my earlier members, basically like at least 75% of them did that. And I thought it was a waste of time for you to even buy the program. You just wasted money. It's stupid shit, right? I don't understand why they did that, but they did. Anyway, I'm still around and I'm still proving to you that this shit works. I might make mistakes, but I come back and I show you why it went wrong, right? Okay, so the reason why this is such a good opportunity here is because we do have a support level that this is going to go down back near, but the upside potential is going to be even more. And I would be in the camp that what you could do is take a long position at that point, and then you could either just ride the rest of the move out, right? You could. In fact, it would be so much more advisable for you to do that, because I don't really think it's going to continue down lower. I don't think Bitcoin's completely topped out yet. I do believe that it's going to grind to a halt, and that grinding is only just getting started. Um, this is going to be very interesting, this move, right? So instead of just saying, oh, too hard basket, nah, I take it as a challenge, especially now that I've seen that this type of thing is likely going to happen. Because not only can you make profit trading it down, we have a clear target from that level if you go long after you take the profit. Okay, I can't stress that enough to you. I'm not a quitter. If I would have quit what I do, I never would have created RS Wave, right? I'm just too passionate about doing this. You could even say I'm kind of addicted and obsessed, but I love the waves. And if I can't figure it out, it's basically, it'll stay in my head until I figure it out. Like, I can't let it just go, right? I can't do that. So this is the count. We are only in a wave A. Wave B, C, D, E are probably going to be smaller, right? They're going to be like kind of step laddering up, and then you're going to get into the one of those scenarios where you have, the zigzag happen, right? But we're not there yet, so we can't really talk about that. Okay, so obviously, great content to share. Amazingly more cool content that's coming that's mega bullish, but don't be disheartened by my shitty analysis. I was just getting warmed up. Thanks for watching.